Hello. So I'm going to be doing a little redesign using Yuso's new creature library, which he very kindly sent over to me to have a look at. It's going to be like 3 parts basically. We've got this design here, and then I'm going to show you some processing in SoundMiner. It doesn't need to be SoundMiner, that's just what I normally use. And then it depends how long this video is. It might need to be a separate video for how you can use these creature sounds as sweeteners for like sci-fi redesigns and things like that. A lot of the times people they're not actually working on creature sounds, so they're thinking, why should I buy a creature library for this? But I actually use creature sounds all the time for like every design that I do basically. So the library comes in 3 parts. You've got raw design, then this building blocks thing here. I'll just show you some of the sounds you get. So all this kind of stuff. Like obviously very useful for creatures, but you can easily use that in like a sci-fi gunshot if you wanted. If I drag this into the session here, you can see it's recorded at 192, so you can pitch it down like quite a lot. And it still sounds like very usable. So yeah, I'll just show you the design. This is, I think, 100% just Yuso's library here, the creatures library. Apart from this kind of musical stuff at the bottom. So I'll just play it for you just so you can get an idea of what we're going to be going over. So that's basically all this stuff here. This is just kind of musical stuff that I've made just for fun. Just to kind of fill out the background. But everything else is the library. All this stuff here, this is stuff that I just put in for fun that I recorded myself. But I'll just keep that muted for now. So yeah, it's basically just broken up into a few different layers here. We've got the base group here, the sidechain group, and this everything on this group here sidechains the base group FX2 and FX3 using this track spacer thing. So I might want the musical elements to be sidechained a bit more aggressively than the creature sounds. So it's kind of the best way to set that up using this, and you can just bump this up or whatever. So I'll just walk you through the groups. We've got this one here, just a little bit of reverb on it. Just to kind of fill out the background, add a bit of reverb, add some depth to the whole thing. And then we've got effects 2. I'll play it with the video. Just a bit of like granular sort of effects. I guess it's more of a delay, a disperser, kilohertz delay there as well, and some reverb. Probably worth getting this. It's quite good and it's free. So yeah, for a lot of this stuff here is just the building block stuff that I've used. So I'll just show you some of that. It's really good because it's not like completely designed to the point where you couldn't layer it up or it'd be too full on. It's quite good for layering these things up with maybe some of the raw sounds as like sweeteners and things like that. So yeah, I've used that quite a lot. And they already sound good, so you don't even need to process them really. Yeah, same with this one here. So that's exactly what I've done. I've got the building block stuff, which I've layered up with the raw sound here. And then we've got this is the base layer, but it's kind of just everything, like all the main elements, which I'll just show you. So yeah, we're using the building block stuff there. When I do these creature sounds, I like to try and get different textures. So we've got stuff like this, which is maybe a little bit more on the noisy kind of side. Then we'll layer up these kind of textures, and together they sound quite good. If we wanted to even take that a step further, what we could do is use this peak follower tool thing. And then I'll just generate this. So this just makes automation based on the amplitude of the item you've got here. So then we could activate this. And then we could layer this up. So I probably wouldn't do it for this design, but it's a cool trick to know. You can see that's following these things perfectly. Cool, so I will delete that. So yeah, when I'm doing these creatures designs, I'm thinking like low, mid, and high as well. So we've got like a base layer here, and then we've got this kind of mid stuff. Then I've got this thing here, which is pitched down 26 semitones, which works because it's recorded at 192. So it actually sounds like that. So that sounds kind of cool. I've got this group here set up, and this is a little trick people do for creatures sometimes. You'll have like the base layer here, your main sound, which is this. I basically just duplicated this track, and then I added this filter on it, like just a low pass. And then I pitched it down by like 7 semitones. You can go quite extreme with it, but it does start to sound a bit weird. So it gives it quite a nice base layer to the sound. I wonder how it would sound if we put this here. It's kind of cool. It's not always the most useful thing, but it's worth knowing. And now we've got these things here, kind of similar thing. I'm just using black hole on that's the reverb, but you can pretty much use any reverb. I just don't want everything super up close, I wanted to make some stuff feel a bit more distant. And then we've got this end scene here. I think I've overdone it a little bit with the process, and I think it sounds too big. But yeah, it's just layers of this building block stuff. We could probably tighten this up a little bit. I'll show you, this is one of the design sounds. I think it's quite good sometimes to layer it up with the building block stuff. So we've got like all this stuff. So you don't need to use the whole sound. Normally I would just cut this bit off here, and then we can just layer this up. This adds a little bit more detail. Maybe I don't want this. Quite like this tremolo type thing, that's pretty cool. What if we use this here instead? And then this is 96k, so we can pitch this down quite a lot still. Then on this main layer here, this was like the main tonal vocal sound for the creature. Without effects, it sounds like this. And then with effects, it sounds like this. So it's just this preset here that I normally use, the deep fried preset. Then that goes into driver, which I use quite a lot. You can also use filter freak, that works as well. And then unveil, just to get rid of all the noise. Then it goes into this pitch thing, which has been automated. I might bypass that. Then of course we got the delay and the reverb. And altogether you get this. So it works quite well, but you do need to, well, you maybe want to add a little bit of processing to the main group, which is what I've done here. I've basically just added low ender just to add a little bit of bass. And then we've also got this sidechain group here, which has this. Yeah, that's the main design for that. So if you wanted to use this library to make some source, what you could do, and I'm just going to jump over to SoundMiner here. Got a little thing I'm working on. If it works. Yeah, so I basically got an effects chain I just put together. I'm trying out some new plugins that I got in the Black Friday sales, so I'm going to show you that as well. So basically, this is all just done in Radium. I'll show you some of the sounds. You're getting that kind of movement there, which I quite like. It can sound weird on its own. You can maybe be thinking like, how does that even work in a design? But it does add quite a lot of detail. You could also use this stuff for like sci-fi pass-bys or anything like that. So all I've done here is I've just imported kind of at random some of the raw assets. And then I'll go over to the processing here. We've got transmod, then we've got oversteer, just adds a little bit of bass. Bypassed this thing here. Then we go into unveil, just to take out as much of the noise as possible. And then into denoise, which again does the same thing. Then shade, I'm going to get to that at the end though. And then that deep fried preset that I use all the time. That goes into elevate, which just brings down some of the bass because it was a bit too much. A gate, just to keep it like pretty clean sounding. It goes into this new reverb thing that I got. It's literally just a reverb, just use anything or none, it doesn't really matter. Then the last thing it goes into, well, I guess not the last thing, but it goes into this as well, which is a plugin called Shade. It's just an EQ, but you can do these weird sort of things with it. So I'll show you with and without. So without. And then with. I think I quite like it with and without, to be honest. It works either way. Yeah, this is one of the other things you can do. just process a bunch of stuff at once. Just throw it in like a sampler. It doesn't need to be radium. You can use pretty much any sampler and then just use like an effects chain. I'll show you with and without the chain. So I'll bypass all of this. And then with the effects. Now, what if we just add low ender to give it a little bit more bass? More. That sounds pretty cool. There's also this thing here called Pitch Monster, which is pretty cool. There's this flanger preset that I really like. So let's try it with that. Yeah, that's really cool. So then the last thing, I'll do this in a separate video, but I'm going to just go over how you can actually use these sounds in a more sci-fi design. So this is a little Apex Legends clip that I'm working on here. Everything in blue, this dark blue thing here, this is creature sounds. And I'll just show you this bit here. Sounds pretty cool. So the main design isn't finished yet, and you wouldn't really be able to tell that there were creature sounds in there at all. It's just it adds quite a nice bit of detail. So I'll just solve the creatures. But yeah, I'm going to do a full video on this once it's finished. But yeah, that's it from me. Thank you to Yusuf for sending over the library. Cheers, bye.